Welcome to Shifting Lanes. Today, we finally fixed the Lexus IS300's altitude problem. I promise this time. We're making it more low. Hello and welcome to Shifting Lanes. My name's Chad. That's our Project Lexus IS300. If you're unfamiliar with this car, I've had this bad boy for 9 years of my life, almost a decade in February 2019. I bought it with the intention of modifying it. The 2JZ, even in GE form, is capable of some pretty impressive power numbers. It's a great handling sports sedan. It's just a great overall platform if you're looking for something fun, sporty, fast, and luxurious. Fast forward to today, and we're working on the suspension. Last time, we only got the front done because, well, we just sort of ran out of time. This time, we're getting the rear suspension in. It's struts and springs, Tokico struts, iBox Pro Plus springs. Say that 10 times fast. In the back, so finally we can see what the car is going to look like. A little bit lower, a little bit meaner, not as goofy as she looked before. We're also hoping today, or in this video, to tackle the front sway bar. There's some plastic and stuff in the way. We couldn't get to it last time, and the end links, which are a known problem with this car. I didn't have a spare set, so we had to wait for parts to come in. So that's hopefully what we're going to get done today. So the only thing left, get the car airborne, get to work, and get one step closer to finishing the Lexus. So first things first, we got to get at the top hats. Now, as you can see, we got the spare tire removed. For those of you wondering, that's the GPS that no longer works in this car. That's where the scissor jack goes. But if you look in here, you have a lot of these type of clips that we're going to have to pop out. 10 mil screw. It should be just 4 of those little clips, and we'll have access. And we're going to have to do more of the same on the other side. So let's get to it. Alright, wheels off. So here's what's no longer going to be on this car when we're done. Rotor, caliper, springs, and the strut. We're obviously keeping the top hat. To get at that, we have 2 bolts, one there, one there, that come off. And then lastly, you've got 2 12 mil bolts, one here and one right here. And then hopefully this whole thing, with a little bit of persuasion, comes right out. So we have all the bolts we need out, but I'm going to need a little bit of persuasion getting that lower control arm out. So yeah, I'm going to have to enlist some help. spring and strut assembly out of the Lexus. Now it's time to go over the bench. Screwed that up last time. Go over to the bench. We're gonna throw some spring compressors on it, get this off. Well, specifically that off. Put the new iBox springs and Tokiko struts on, and then put it back in the car. There it is, our new strut and spring. Top tip if you're doing this at home, you notice the alignment posts here that were bolted into the car. You have those lined up with here, the bottom of the strut. So it makes for install a hell of a lot easier. Another thing to keep in mind when doing this at home is to be careful with these spring compressors, because obviously this is under a lot of tension. So just make sure you use these pins to kind of keep things in place, and just be cognizant of just how much pressure this whole assembly is under. Now that that's all done, we can get this back in the car and finally see if the both our new bolts in. Bracket bolts in. New strut and spring. It is raining outside, so I apologize for the background noise. But now we're going to disassemble, or I shouldn't say disassemble, we're going to detach the old brake caliper, take it back over to the bench, compare it to the new one, new pads, and put it back on the car with the brand new rotors. So we got our old caliper off. It has, let's say, seen better days. We got decent meat left on the pads, but I think there was some uneven wear on the rotor because pulsing was pretty severe. It's also a pretty old part, so that's why it's getting replaced with a new one. So we're just going to put this together, bring it over to the car, and get her on the car. So, why is it a week later? Well, rather embarrassingly, that is not a Lexus IS300 rear rotor. I don't know what it's from, but it's not for this car, so we have clearance issues between the rotor and the caliper. This is actually hard up against here right now, which obviously won't work. I had to wait the week to get the correct parts shipped back to me. Now that we have the right parts, we're going to finish up over here, bleed the brakes, and move on to the front sway bar. So here we are underneath the car, looking at the old front sway bar. There was this plastic that had a couple bolts that came out pretty easily. There's our radiator, our relatively new timing belt and everything. So now we got 4 bolts to zip off. And we'll go over this side because it's a little easier. Got one there and one on the other side. And then our end links, which are there. We have new ones of those. I recommend if you're doing this at home that you absolutely get new end links, because we're going to have to cut these off because they strip very easily. So once we get everything off again, we'll go take a look at the old sway bar versus the new one, get this on, and be one step closer to finished. Here is effectively where we're going to have to call it. The car is currently running without a sway bar. It's right there. Reason the new ones aren't in is because we had to cut here because this bolt wasn't going anywhere. We thought we could just, kind of hammer this way through like we did on a lot of the other suspension components. And, well, we were wrong, and we don't have the tooling to get that out. So I'm going to have to take that to a professional, get that out before we can add the new sway bar. I swear to Christ I will finish this eventually. Hopefully. And that's it. Once again, we seem to hit a crossroads where we're not quite finished. We keep hitting roadblocks, but hey, that's working on project cars, right? Hopefully next time I'll be getting both sway bars in, at least the front, and the big brake conversion. I'm really looking forward to doing that because it should be relatively straightforward. It's just replacing calipers and rotors, right? With some thread adapters that could pose a little bit of trouble, but we won't know until we get there. But the Lexus is making progress. We do move a little slowly, but it's an older car, and these sort of things happen. So we will grind forward. We will finish the suspension on this. But as always, guys, I want to thank you for watching. If you like what you saw or kind of feel Project Car Pain, hit that little like button. Let me know what you think about it in the comments below. Also, don't forget to subscribe. We have a lot of exciting stuff coming through the channel. Not too distant future, so I'm really stoked for a lot of that stuff. More of the Lexus, more of the BRZ, more of the Volvo. She's wounded, but she's not out. And a little bit more from the Aston Martin. You can find us on social media at Shifting Lanes. You can find me on social media at Chennedy83, Twitter, Instagram, so on and so forth. You can get Shifting Lanes swag at our store on Teespring, link down there. You can also support us on Patreon. We will get there, guys, I promise. But for now, that's it, and I'll catch you next time.